John, hello. How's it going, man?
Hey man, yeah.
How's it going?
It's going good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. You having a mega vibey day?
No, I'm not actually.
No.
I'm feeling a bit off today.
Well, what's happening?
I don't know. Just like I had such a. It was my EP launch at the weekend on
Yeah,
Sunday
yeah.
at the video rooms, and I had a perfect gig.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. I don't think I've ever had a perfect gig before.
Yeah.
Ever. I enjoyed myself 100%.
Yeah.
And it was perfect.
Nice.
And it was amazing, and a lot of people that I love and like a lot of my friends were there. That was great, and I had such a buzz from it, and I spent the entire yesterday just like sitting about buzzing still, and it kind of wore off today.
You maybe wore yourself out.
I wore myself out. I'm really tired.
Fair dues. What goes up must come down.
Yeah, totally.
Let's go up. Yeah, so you just did your EP launch, and does that feel good? Does it feel like what's it feel like? Does it feel like the beginning, or the middle, or the end? What are you doing?
I don't at the beginning, but I can't see any sort of different chapters. So I'm kind of a little, like, oh, what's going to happen with it? What's kind of the next stage of it? Of where do I take this? But one thing that I do know is, which is really good, I recorded this EP in November. And then I only just did the launch, we're in April. The launch just there's so much running up to it. And like for the months running up to it, I was like, oh, I'm kind of over the sound that I made in the EP. I'm like, I want to do something entirely different.
Yeah.
Just get entirely new musicians in and, I don't know, do like some sort of ambient funk record or something.
Sounds good.
Yeah, totally, I know. Something like off the wall, And I was having all these thoughts. I'd listen to I don't know, some sort of a reggae track. I'm like, oh, I want to do something dubby, or like been listening to a lot of ambient music, which we could maybe get to. I'm like, I want to do just an ambient like record using synths and stuff, not even have a guitar. I have all these like thoughts in music, which are really inspiring, but I had like no direction. But I did the gig there at the launch on Sunday, and I'm like completely focused about what I want to do now. I want to kind of like stick with the musicians that I've been working with and like kind of develop the sound a little bit more. So I'm a lot more focused now. So
yeah,
I'm a lot. Yeah.
That comes, I guess, you've got to keep momentum. It's whenever you get a big space between what you do, even with any act, however good it is, and if the last gig was really good, fine, you can ride that for a while, but eventually you've got to keep momentum going. I always, even with the Miracle Glass Company and things like that, if I go too long a time, you even start to go, well, what am I doing now, and what are we doing now? Then you go in, you have a good gig, and like you say, you're focused, and you want to do more, and you want to keep on building what you got.
Yeah.
Consistency is key. I think it's hard for like musicians because you start to think in all kinds of different directions. So you might think like you were saying, oh, I've done that now, so I want to try something else, and it's hard to stick with a thing long enough to get it to make it break through, so that more people are starting to hear it.
Yeah.
But that's half the thing. I think for a lot of people who are creatives, they're going in different directions, and what they need is the solidity to power through with one idea and just make that work. Make every idea work before you move on to something else.
It's not a thing about like having like no tenacity or anything. It's just like I'm just easily distracted. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I get the same.
I get so I listen to like one bit of music. I'm like, that's what I want to do because that's what I'm into right now. And then I listen to like another thing in the same day, like in the evening. I'm like, no, I want to do this now. It's drains my energy.
You'll come to a balance for these guys, like we talk about, like Willie Nelson and that. If he wants to do, if he wanted to do a reggae record, he can do it. If he wants to do,
I would love to hear that.
It'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Be so cool. Yeah.
I think you come to a balance, but at the age we're at and things like that, it's still up in the air, and you've not quite come to peace with how you're going to put stuff out and all that. I think we're very much in that ourselves. You've just turned 30, right?
Not yet.
Is that right? You're not turned 30?
I was still 29.
Still 29. You're going to turn 30.
Yeah.
We're having a joint birthday. The joint birthday party, right?
Totally, yeah. Alright, I'm on the 29th, so what's that, like 2.5 weeks away or something? Wow. Yeah, I'll be 30.
Sorry, I think they're wrestling upstairs or something now. Got some WWE going on up there.
He's turning 30.
Legion of Doom, innit? Oh man.
So 30 soon.
How'd you feel about that? You alright? You good with 30? You like it?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good old...
I'm a good place right now, so it doesn't really bother me.
I like getting older.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you turn... all these milestones I think is a good thing.
I think you think about it.
Well, it's a chance to like... I don't avoid it. I think it's a chance to grow yourself, or to recognise what's been and where you're going and all that. So it's very good to do that. Just like we all do as a race, every time you get to the end of a decade, you think about, what will this one be like, or how do you want this one to be, and all that.
Milestones, yeah, totally.
Milestones, it's a good thing to reach these.
Yeah.
So what, for 30 to 40, what are you, a cosmic country artist?
Yeah, totally.
Alright,
yeah.
Good thing to be. It's one of my favourite types of music. Don't think it's been defined as a genre by most people, but it's definitely there.
Aye, definitely. I want to do a sort of... I want to do a sort of Graham Parsons sort of vibe. I love the kind of dynamic that the musicians that I'm working with right now, like they play really delicate, and they all have really nice touches on their instruments, and we play at a low volume, which is really good because it's really easy to get loud, and it's really easy to get really soft, and the dynamics are brilliant. It's like right in the middle. I've only played with them a couple of times, but it's like right in the middle of this. Nobody ever plays loud, and there's loads of space, and it's this kind of country thing of this laid back, and everything seems to be in the right position, and I want to kind of build on that country thing and make it more psychedelic, like a Grateful Dead sort of thing, Graham Parsons thing, take more influences, and because I don't know, country music, like every genre of music has its kind of limitations, and country music, if you kind of sway away from maybe like the 3 or 4 chords formula, you're like, wait, it's not country anymore. But I want to kind of play with a little kind of like some maybe nicer chord, not nicer, but like just more unusual chord voicings over a sort of kind of country format, and like see where that kind of goes. So I've been writing a few things right now, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Probably be a dub reggae artist by the end of next week though.
That'd be alright. Well, like Lee Scratch Perry.
Not exactly like
imagine being like him when you're 80 years old. I love the way he dresses, man. I love his attitude as well.
I love Scratch, he's cool. He sends out a positive message. He seems like he's in charge of his own social media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's
so sometimes he posts crazy shit.
Yeah, like it's all in block capitals.
Yeah.
There's loads of dollar signs everywhere. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
What's with that? I love it. But like people post saying like, I'm a big fan, but me and my family are a big fan of your Scratch, and he posts back saying, yeah, love and blessings to your family. It's him typing it. Must be. Yeah. Either that or he's got.
I mean, he posts some questionable stuff, but some great stuff as well. Most of it's about positivity, and I always take that. Same with Willie Nelson. I take that when you get guys in their 80s who've been musicians for that long and they've made it that far, with all the casualties there are in rock and roll and folk and all these genres, jazz, whatever. I take that from people who've made it through to 80, 90, and if they got something positive to say to other musicians, I take it on board, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Take something from... He's one, Willie Nelson's one, Neil Young's one, and in his own way, definitely one that I look up to. Is there any others? Chuck Berry was one. You were well into Chuck Berry?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure how much of an influence he set for everybody.
How did you get into Chuck?
My dad had a greatest hits CD of Chuck Berry when I was a wee boy, and he's like, I need to let you listen to some music, because the first song I ever loved was Rock Around the Clock, Bill Haley and His Comets. Yeah? Amazing. What a track.
Good name for a band too.
Yeah, definitely. And I loved that song, and my dad was like, you like this kind of rock and roll sound? I was like, I was like 4, 5 maybe. I was like, yeah, I like it. He was, I need to listen to music. So he put on this Chuck Berry CD, and it was like Roll Over Beethoven, and I was like, yeah, I like it, I like it. And then it was and maybe another one, I can't really remember. We were like flicking through, and then he put on Johnny Be Good. I was like, what is that? Like this riff that gets me like every time still. And It's like, what is that? And I remember like dancing around an awful lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to see Chuck Berry when I was like 6.
Where was that? Playhouse?
Aberdeen Music Hall.
Cool.
I kind of like second guess. It was so long ago, and it was maybe my earliest memory.
Yeah.
Because there was no photos of the night like by my family. We didn't video or anything, but I remember it like really clearly. So I'm kind of questioning myself. Did that even really happen? It seems surreal now, you know. And we were a few rows from the front. I remember it was seating, and he came on stage wearing a pair of canary yellow flares. And a big shirt, and he was really very tall. Yeah. And I was like a wee boy, and quite intimidating, you know. The crowd were going like fucking ape shit, man. Yeah. Right, and then he was like plugging in his amp, and the whole amp was feeding back and stuff. Yeah. And he had a scratch band with him, which I'd later find out that he just kind of like picked up a band in the night. So it was like mayhem. It was like being at a carnival, you know. Totally. And then he eventually got it working, and the crowd were going mental, like come on, like, whatever, roaring. I'm like that. I was really overwhelmed, and he was like, "Hey, baby," or something, you know. Yeah. And then he like whipped into the sweet little 16. Fucking gallus, man. Yeah. So that's how I got into Chuck.
Was that like a lightning bolt moment for you in rock and roll, or or was that just Chuck Berry in particular? Or did that push you over the edge for rock and roll?
Aye, it was Chuck Berry. Yeah, it's like guitar hero. You don't get much more of a guitar hero than Chuck, you know. Yeah. And
he passed, what was it, a couple of weeks ago now or something?
Yeah.
Is that right? 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
3 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
What was he, 90 or something?
He's one. He like started rock and roll, and then he outlived, I think, all the casualties of rock and roll, and then he outlived, almost everyone. I think, Little Richard's still going, and Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah. Some of these guys, but Chuck Berry, I always thought about him while he was still alive, that he started this, and he's still going, and he lived it in a crazy way too. He would show up and have a band there for him who he'd never jammed with before and all that, and just have them back him and stuff like that. Yeah, scratch have like the money in a suitcase or something like that, didn't he?
I read that he used to show up with like an empty suitcase, put it down, and the promoter would 5 minutes before going on, and the promoter would like put $10,000. Yeah. That figure might have fluctuated, so don't quote me on that, but it was like $10,000 in the suitcase, and he used to walk on stage with his 355 and it is in his suitcase, laid in the suitcase, play the gig, and if the scratch band were any good, the deal was, if the scratch band that the promoter had organised and picked up, if the scratch band were good, he'd give $1,000 back to the promoter.
Amazing.
But if the band were dud, he'd take the whack. Yeah.
Do you think he maybe...
I don't know if that's true. I never met Chuck Berry, I never asked him. How do you know? I don't care.
I imagine him never ever giving that grant. And always having the bands play the fucking shit out of what they were. Or maybe get $1,000.
Or maybe get paid tonight.
Having Chuck like kick them out the way on the way out of the place and all that. I just get that from like Keith Richards says he like had a little play on Chuck's guitar once when Chuck was out of the room and Chuck saw him and came in and punched him in the face.
It's such an overreaction.
It's a bit of an overreaction, but he's from a different time, isn't he? It's kind of like a...
Got ripped off so many times, I think.
I remember seeing Chuck Berry as a kid and he'd have like half a moustache. Is that right? Sorry, Andy Barber's working the camera over here now, so yeah, have you seen that? Half a moustache. And doing the duck walk across the stage and stuff like that. He's such a crazy character. It's one of these guys when you're a kid, you just go, what is that? What's going on?
How do you mean half a moustache? Why is he doing that? Like one side or like?
I've seen pictures of Chuck. I could be wrong. We can check this after, but I think I've seen pictures of him with like just half a tash.
Maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe it's because he had to give the promoter that extra grand back, and he couldn't afford it. I don't know.
If that band's good, I'll shave off half my tash.
Yeah, totally.
I'm keeping the grand.
But I'm not keeping the tash. Yeah, Chuck Berry, and like I was having a conversation with somebody about this. Like, you were just to reflect on what you were saying there, how he started rock and roll. Like, people will argue that it's maybe Little Richard, Fats Domino, Bill Haley, even like Louis Prima, Louis Jordan rather. Louis Jordan's guitar player did that great riff, but he didn't double stop it, and double stopping's where you play two strings at once, right? And Chuck doubled it up, you know, whatever. You could argue that he took bits and pieces from whoever, but like lyrically he was talking about like social issues in America that were completely revolutionary for any sort of popular music. But what I mean is, he's a black guy, right? In like 50s America, and like a lot of his songs, if you've noticed, are about like I'm so glad I'm living in the USA. Anything you want, they got it bad here in the USA. Super positive, super patriotic, but I don't know. I don't think it would have been that good for like a black guy in the South in America, and especially in the 50s, growing up.
Yeah.
And he wasn't singing for. It seemed like he wasn't singing for him, because like these segregation and all that, all these radio stations weren't playing the black people's music, you know, the mainstream ones, and he wasn't making any money. And he was writing these lyrics aimed at like white middle class kids, and he always talks about things like money and cars. You know, I mean, you know, you can't you can't just afford a car, you know what I mean, if you're not like this middle class kind of like citizen, and this like this whole thing about the American dream that you completely tailored towards like a white audience, like the people who had like the money, you know, the money to come out and, you know, and it was completely genius. He had it all figured out, what he was writing about. He wasn't just writing songs, making noises, you know, like all these other kind of rock and rollers that were like great songs and all that, but they weren't really like saying anything like. They're almost like social commentary, these songs, you know, like going to get a Cadillac. You know, I'm gonna get that car and I'm gonna head on down the road, and I don't have to worry about the beaten up ragged Ford. You know, a middle class white thing. You know, so not something
it's
that
interesting
not
looking
something
at
that black kids, you know, in the States of America would be.
Yeah, but he was aspirational himself. I mean, he painted himself in a way, so like he wanted to drive a Cadillac and all that, and he was about like rappers do now. You know what I mean? They want the things that they're talking about, and that's a lifestyle they want to project, because it's a lifestyle they want to live to an extent. To some extent, you know, they want the Cadillacs and things like that, and they talk about what they want, and they try and live it, you know, to an extent, I'd imagine. And maybe it does sell. But I was thinking actually about the start in rock and roll. The whole thing with Chuck, it's because he promoted rock and roll in his songs. Hail, hail, rock and roll. He was going about and advertising rock and roll and making it, almost making it happen in that sense. That's why I say Chuck starting rock and roll, but he didn't start it. Ruth Barrie, who's working the cameras here, played me some stuff, some filthy old like blues tunes from like much earlier, from like 1930s, 40s, and back then they had no. It was never dreamt of that it could ever get on the radio. So they would talk about like his old like women talking about, you know, eat my pussy and all that kind of stuff. And all you should find is, you've seen all that kind of stuff.
Bessie Smith.
Yeah, is that right? More than this, there was these people you never heard of in that, and they would just talk about, and it's pretty uncensored, and it's straight up about sex, what they're singing about. It's filth. There's some real filth in there compared with what we got later on, all the stuff that was designed to get on the radio.
My favourite title is "Let Me Put My Banana in Your Fruit Basket."
That's totally.
But
that's
by Bo Carter.
Yeah, totally, man. But that's a metaphor. There were people straight up talking about what they were going to do to people and all that kind of thing. And before, but they weren't famous. Yeah. But some of that stuff's kicking about. If you go on a wee search on YouTube, because showed me some stuff, and then I went on a wee search afterwards and found more and more of these unknowns who were just straight up talking about what they were into, never dreaming of being a star or being on the radio. They were just doing it for fun, and the way people reacted in the club, like kind of like Dirty Comics or something like that, totally. Singing in a way and people
getting everybody fired up.
I think that is the undertone of rock and roll. That's what it's really about, and that everything else is just so they can get it on the radio. Right, and maybe you can promote some other things and make some money, but I think the power of those three chords and the spirit of what people are putting out there, the energy is sexual, and that's what's really driving people, and people hear that. One of the things you do is like, I like listening to music backwards sometimes, you know, after I've recorded it, just to see how it sounds, right? I know Bill Hicks says, you know, if you're listening to music backwards, you are Satan. But it's like, you know, and listen backwards, you can hear tonally what people are doing in a song. So you can hear, you know, you forget about the lyrics and say, what are they putting out? What are they actually saying? And I think with a lot of the best rock and roll, you can hear that sexual vibe, man. They're getting animal on it, and that's the best rock and roll.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think Chuck started it, but he definitely popularised it. He was an advertiser. He advertised. He was a good worker for rock and roll. God knows who the boss was or who made him do that, but he went about and he popularised rock and roll, and he gave it a language, and people over here bought it and ate it up, and then British rock and roll. And I don't know. I wasn't born then. That's just from what I can see, from what I listened to.
Yeah.
He definitely popularised it.
Yeah. 100%.
Made it something that like school kids and things like that would get into, you know, singing about how boring school is and all that kind of thing. And you go, yeah, I feel that. I'll buy that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah. Have you heard Chuck Berry's new song?
What's his new song?
It's called
Big Boy.
Thank you, man. It's
Big
called
Boy.
Big Boys.
I saw it on Spotify.
Big Boys. Have you heard it?
Is it like his last recording or something?
Well, he's been recording it since like the late 80s apparently, this new album. And a single was released, like
amazing.
He was like apparently he was working like really hard on it for like the last year or two, because you know he knew he was getting on and all that, so I think he was kind of like pushing himself to go into the studio and get this recorded. So you've not heard it?
No, man. It's there. It's on Spotify. I use Spotify and all that.
It's
so
magic.
Like, you know, it's there.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is.
I'll have a listen. We'll put it on this playlist. We'll put it out with this show, right?
Tom Morello plays the guitar on it.
Cool.
It's mental. It's really weird.
He's part of his like scratch band. It's like,
Aye.
he's get £1,000 for like
No way.
being any good. Shave half his tash off.
Totally. But he's like guested. He's guested with like a whole bunch of musicians, and the single that he's released, it's all about like when I was a little bitty boy, like couldn't go out, you know, because I was too young, but now I'm a big boy and I'm gonna go out and it's like have it large. It's rock and roll. It's brilliant, and he's on the guitar and you can hear his voice is older, but it's definitely Chuck.
Yeah.
The whole thing sounds like it's gonna fall apart any minute. Brilliant. It's the best. It's great. All the Chuck Berry's recordings sound like they're going to fall apart any minute. That's what makes them so fresh and exciting all the time.
The piano player was big, right? In the
Johnny
arrangements
Johnson,
and stuff. Yeah, they say so. Yeah.
He didn't get.
I love his sound. Like
Johnny Johnson is amazing. He never got as much credit as he deserved. Like, if you ever noticed, like a lot of Chuck Berry's songs are in weird keys, like B flat, E flat, and some piano keys. The piano keys, right? So they're obviously like piano riffs that Johnny Johnson's come up with. Well, like, why would you play? Well, footnote: B flat's my favourite key to sing in. But besides the point, like, why would you play in B flat or especially E flat if you're a guitar player? You wouldn't do that.
no.
That's piano keys.
I'd bang a capo on it.
Me too. Totally. So Johnny Johnson, I think, wrote a lot more, or had a lot more influence on Chuck's music than was ever made out, because he's not credited for shit.
It's a shame, because it's a big part of that sound. The early stuff, definitely. Those albums.
Yeah.
Chuck's got some good albums too. People don't, you know, they hear the individual songs. Some of those first two albums are good, aren't they? The one with like I can't remember what it's called, but the one with like Havana Moon, stuff like that.
Hops.
Is that maybe his second album or something? He went away for some time, didn't he? He was in the
You got the jail.
He was in the Click for a while, right?
The Click. Yeah. He was in the Click.
I'm trying to think what Chuck would have called it. He went inside.
That's what brown-eyed handsome man's about.
That's my favourite Chuck song.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
I think a lot of the Bob Dylan stuff that I loved before I ever heard Brown-Eyed Handsome Man, like Bringing It All Back Home, that kind of Dylan's mercurial period from Bringing It All Back Home, Highway 61 Revisited, Blonde on Blonde, all that kind of stuff. All those stories, I think he gets that for like Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry's the original American rock and roll poet.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the stuff he's trying to do is just trying to be like Chuck. People are saying, Bob, you're a genius, and ignoring the fact that he's just trying to sing like Chuck Berry, do rock and roll, especially bringing it all back home.
And
some of the songs,
lyrically.
telling little stories like Brown Eyed Handsome Man. So
Tombstone Blues.
yeah, Brown Eyed Handsome Man, every verse is like a story in itself about a brown eyed handsome man. Each one is a story, so there's about 7 stories, I don't know how many in the song, right? And Bob Dylan songs become like that later on.
Yeah.
They're all individual stories about. He definitely took a lot from Chuck, and
Yeah.
people don't tend to recognise it. But
Yeah, I never thought of that.
it's a genius song. Every single thing is a story in itself, and it also relates to the main thing. And I think he's the first
I love it.
like rock and roller I heard do that.
There's such imagery in that song, isn't there? Like, I always like, I don't know, arguably maybe your imagination is a little more wild or vivid when you're young, when you're a child. You know what I mean? You imagine things deeper. Do you agree with that?
Nah.
Right, okay.
Now is the most vivid it's ever been.
Right here.
Right this moment.
Right, well, when I was wee, I used to listen to that Greatest Hits Chuck Berry CD, and like Brown Eyed Handsome Man. It was like, flying across the desert in a TWA, I seen a woman walking across the sand. She was walking 30 mile en route to Bombay to get a brown-eyed hand. I was in that flight, looking out the window, and every time I listened to it, I had exactly the same image of this woman walking across the sand. I'm like, fucking walking across the sand, man. You used to get a taxi or something. You know what I mean? Like, right, so that's a long walk. And all the Chuck Berry songs are like little stories, and the imagery is like so strong in them. It like really sets my imagination just in overdrive, especially when I was a wee boy. Now, I don't know if I'd have the same thing now. I don't know if I'm just kind of like remembering all those things. Every time I listen to Chuck Berry, I still get that exact. I'm imagining it now. It's magic.
Yeah.
It's still the same thoughts that I had when I was like 5-year-old.
Well, here's the thing, like, say in childhood, that's really not, I mean, they can take you there, you're not so much in control of your imagination. I think as you get older, not lots of people aren't, but as an artist you can maintain it if you want, and you can develop it by choice, imagination, so you can choose to sit down and listen to something and picture what they're, it might take a little bit of will to get the ball rolling, but eventually you can go on like mental trips with music, definitely.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
When you're a kid, it takes you by surprise and things like that. So it seems like more of an interesting thing, I guess. So you've got these memories, and it's all for the first time too, isn't it? So it's like these things never leave you. I go back to a lot of it now, especially getting to the age we're at. Maybe you do that for all your life. Go back to like the first time you got into rock and roll bands, whatever it was. Get that feeling, go and listen to those songs. Yeah, it's a funny thing how it never leaves you. There's some things that you leave behind as the things of childhood. Rock and roll's not one of those things.
You're right, yeah. For sure.
You'd be 80 years old and you hear that song and you still dig it.
Yeah. Still the same feeling. Powerful, man.
All right. Just going to get a wee fill up my glass here if we're cool to take a wee. Are you alright for drinks and that, John?
I'm good. This by the way, this is not the longest I've talked about Chuck Berry for in one sitting. I'll stay here all night.
This is note. This is note.
And how are we doing for time on the old
about half an hour.
is anyone keeping track? We've done half an hour.
Chuck Berry for half an hour.
It's alright, man.
Andy Thompson will be loving it, man.
Alright. We'll do another 15 minutes or something. Do you want to do more, Chuck?
Let's move on. Let's move about something else. I need to.
Cool.
Brain's feeling a bit lopsided with it all.
Yeah, well, when did you get into the Grateful Dead?
Why did I get into Grateful Dead?
When or why, or however you want to answer that. But Grateful Dead.
Okay.
Origin of your interest.
Okay. How did I get into Grateful Dead?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I recognised the Grateful Dead maybe from reading some sort of guitar book when I was young, and I seen Jerry Garcia, who always seemed like a bit of a I don't know, shaman type figure, right? Like, I don't know, like the way people like talked about him in articles. It's like, whoa, Jerry Garcia, and then it was kind of like, right, he's there. Never paid too much attention to it. I was like, I'll get to that maybe, all seemed a bit like, maybe that's not for me. And I played in a band years ago, and my tour manager was a Deadhead.
I'm just looking around, sorry. What's it? Your tour manager was a Deadhead. And did he used to?
my tour manager for my old band, Pedro,
Yeah.
was a Deadhead. I think that was one of the first things he asked me. He was like, "Are you into the Grateful Dead?"
Yeah.
I'm like, no, but maybe, you
Yeah.
know, I could be. And then I used to talk to him a lot about the Grateful Dead because all he wanted to do was, you know, as Deadheads do, talk about the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
You know, and so I kind of like picked his brain about it a wee bit, and he was like, right, I was like, right, I want to get into it. It sounds good, sounds like a good thing. And he was telling me about Deadhead culture and all that, sort of half paying attention. I'm like 21 at this point. So he's like, I was like, give me an album to get into. So he was like, get into the Mars Hotel. That's a good like entry album.
Yeah.
Which isn't a good entry album, I don't think, for the Grateful Dead. You'd say maybe American Beauty or Working Man's Dead, right?
I think American Beauty or Working Man's Dead is definitely
Totally.
the entry album for Grateful Dead.
I put on Mars Hotel and I was like, don't get it, put it off kind of thing.
Mhm.
Tried really hard for years, like on and off, to get into it. It was like, there's so much. You go on like Spotify, you know what I mean, and there's like 1,000 bootlegs of the Grateful Dead. You're like, well, where do I start with this? I've got so much stuff. Do I start at the beginning? You know, I don't know. So it was years later, and we were going away to play a gig somewhere, me and you and the Holy Ghosts. You were standing, you were standing in the bass, and you were in the back of the van, and we were talking. You struck up a conversation with the Grateful Dead, and I was like, I think I ran this story past you. I was like, I just can't get into them. You're like, Sugar Magnolia, that's a tune. I'm like, I've never heard that. You're like, yeah, you need to get into that, and then you started singing it. I was like, we were all like having a laugh, you know, you're like, Joy singing this song. I'm like, alright, give it a spin. What's a good album? You know, American Beauty. Yeah, what Sugar Magnolia's on? I'm like, alright, I'll give it a spin. And then I kind of did, and then I was in Fop one day and I seen Working Man's Dead, brand new pressing of the vinyl. I was like, if I get this record, I'll just have to listen to it. So I just leaped in and I bought it for like 20 quid and put it on. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's quite bluesy,
Yeah.
you know, quite guitar-y.
It's not
Easy to get
a
into.
massive leap from Chuck Berry.
Totally.
The new Speedway Boogie.
Yeah.
That's my jam at the moment, by the way. I love that song.
Yeah.
I'd heard it before, but you know, since we were rehearsing it for the Grateful Dead night, I've been thinking about it more.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
a
that tune.
One
One way or another, this darkness got to give. Sure it does.
So yeah, it was just kind of like a mixture of people who, like, you know, Pedro was in a lot of great music. You're in a lot of great music. A lot of people were like saying, "Oh, you need to get into them." So eventually, just bought a vinyl and loved it, and then it went from there. It's weird. Just kind of woke up one day and I realised I was like hooked. You know Nigel, who I think you were talking about in the previous episode
with Andy.
Andy. I asked Nigel that night we went to see the Grateful Dead movie. I was like, Nigel, when did you become a Deadhead? The chat had kind of dried up, you know. I was like, so when did you become a Deadhead? He goes to me, well, I realised I was a Deadhead when I was going to a job interview in the morning, and I took half an hour to select which one of my 3 Jerry Garcia ties I was going to wear. And then he goes, fuck, I'm a Deadhead.
You know, Andy told me some story like that. It says he went down the rabbit hole in 1973 or something and never came back, or, you know, he's been there ever since.
Andy or
right?
Nigel?
That's a true quote, yeah. I think Nigel said that to Andy or something that stuck out in my mind.
How did you get into the Grateful Dead?
Through Neil Young. Neil Young, we brought out this, you know, remember he brought out like a Psychedelic Pill, the album.
That the other day. Brilliant.
Great album, I listened to it the other day as well, got into it. And he mentions the Grateful Dead in a song.
Yeah, it's in
Twisted Road. Is that right?
Walking the Twisted Road. Listen to the Dead on the radio. Like old time music.
See, that's all. And I listened to that album a lot. Like you would listen to that album every night. You know, Psychedelic Pill. Start with Drifting Back, go through. You got like half an hour first track.
Same.
Psychedelic Pill's a great album. But it was that. I was just hearing it all the time. I heard it enough times. He kept singing it. I kept hearing that song, and he said Grateful Dead on the radio, and I thought there must be something there. I'll go and have a listen, and I looked into it, and apparently, I read about it, and that time that he's talking about, if you were to turn the radio on in California, you would hear like a Grateful Dead song. It was the time, maybe 1970 or whenever American Beauty came out. So I thought, right, I'll get into American Beauty. Got into that first. Loved it, hammered it. I listened to it all the time, every day. Absolutely loved it, and it would have been round about that time I went away with you guys, probably, you know, like 5 years ago or something like that. And we were going on tour, and I would have been madly into American Beauty at the time. And by that point, that's all I would really know, American Beauty and Working Man's Dead. I hadn't listened to the other stuff since, you know, I've listened to other things since. I mean, you guys, like yourselves, I think Andy Barber had given me like Blues for Allah. Listened to that one night, you know, amazing. Well, listened to it many nights, but the first time, great. All of these things, and it keeps going. You know what? And I feel like a total beginner with the Dead. Like I'm just starting out. There's so much stuff there's so much stuff out there. It's like, how are you going to listen to all that? You know, you've got your whole life to get into it.
It's great.
It's like a universe, isn't it? So it's all there to explore.
Yeah, I sometimes like go into Spotify and like pick a year
Mm-hmm.
and just have it.
Just get into it.
Mm.
It's a good way to go.
See, the thing, I was speaking to a friend of mine, John the Hat, about this. You know John the Hat?
No, is he in that Craze movie?
Maybe. I was.
All right, episode 2, well underway.
Yeah, you know, like example. You know, the Rolling Stones.
Mm.
They've been together ages. The Grateful Dead are together ages. Like, you pick a year of the Stones, like, to listen to live. You're like 72. It's gold.
Mm.
It's amazing. And then you like pick 78. You're like, it's good. And then you pick like 86. You're like, it's bloated.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You can hear a fucking fireworks going off, and
Yeah.
at the start of each tune, and it's all, you can hear the inflatable things. You know, you can just hear bloatedness in it. And sorry, Rolling Stones. You know, it got shit in the 80s. You look back and you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
You know, what? There's like, they released a lot of albums that, in my opinion, you know, if they didn't release, they wouldn't damage their legacy.
Yeah.
Right. But like the Grateful Dead, like when you like go to like, I don't know, like Live in '91,
Yeah.
fucking brilliant. There's loads of good like great moments.
Mm-hmm.
They never like kind of like stayed the same, like became like any sort of like tribute band of
Yeah.
themselves. You know what I mean?
They had an odd way
You
of running
agree
it
with
as well. Totally. They had an odd way of running themselves as a band. So, like, say we go and we go and record with Miracle Glass, and we try and do everything evenly. And you get people who say, like, "Well, surely there's a leader in that." You say, "No, there's not. We're all equal members and all that." And the Grateful Dead apparently were like that, like refusing to have a leader. They try to run themselves as a every guy is important as, you know, that kind of thing. They say Jerry Garcia was the leader who didn't want to be a leader type thing. I find that really interesting, and for whatever reason their shows remain fun, or and their fans are so loyal, and there's something there that people get into that's different from every other band, you know.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, you know, I can't say for certain because I never like seen the Grateful Dead like in their kind of heyday, but there's this like like from what I take from the bootlegs, there was this kind of uncertainty. We're going to see a Grateful Dead concert, like they might have an off night, but that's okay because maybe they were like, you know, they do like half-hour jams in and out of stuff, you know, and it gets pretty experimental. Like even like you think it would be really experimental in the 70s, it got like a lot more experimental, but like it's not like it was trying to be like some sort of squeaky clean oiled machine.
But they were playing for, I mean, by that point it's apparently you could trace like acid deals in America by following the Grateful Dead around, right? Around tour, right, throughout the 80s and things like that. And they were playing to a tripping audience, so that was the thing. You go to the gig and trip, so you got all these long, you know, jams and that, and it was well designed by people who were experienced for people who were tripping, I think, to have a good trip, you know. And that's we get these stories about, a rainbow broke out, and everyone at once was, you know, excited by it and things like that. It's a shame it's too late. I mean, they still play, but I can't afford to go to America and go to one of these gigs. Nah, man, best we can do is go to the Voodoo Rooms on the 22nd and like put on our own gig, you know.
Dig.
All right. Yeah. That's the best we can do. I'm really looking forward to it, man.
Me
it's
too.
going to be a good night.
It's going to be good. Like, great people
Yeah.
to try and, wouldn't like to say recreate, just kind of like, I don't know. What are we doing? Are we trying to recreate? Are we trying to pay tribute? Probably not.
No,
We're
I
just
don't. Well,
having some fun with the songs we like.
I
right?
didn't think so at the first rehearsal. I thought, right, I'm being me in the way I play at Miracle. I'm playing quite aggressive, and I liked that we were all being ourselves. But as it's gone on, it's like it's got more and more kind of disorganised and looser. And now I feel like I really don't know what I'm doing. And now I think we're just right to do a Grateful Dead gig.
Yeah.
We've degraded to the right level, and it'll be fantastic. Yeah, it's got to be loose anyway, so
Yeah.
we're there. It sounds good. I get really excited. The way we're performing like New Speedway Boogie and stuff like that, I love it.
Yeah, it sounded good, eh? Yeah.
We've tried it a couple of times. By the time we play it, we'll have played it 3 or 4 times,
Yeah.
and it'll be just right for people to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right.
4 minutes left.
4 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right. Holidays on the Moon.
Yeah.
Would you like to take a holiday on the moon? It's not an offer. It's just like if it ever happens and you can go and do it, would you do it?
Yeah.
Be cool, eh?
Yeah.
I think it'd be. I have a lot of dreams about being on the moon, right? And I'm like, maybe riding a bike on the moon or that, which would be impossible. But for whatever reason, there's some of the best dreams. Something about the moon. Full moon tonight as well, obviously. Pink, 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 pink moon.
I'm sceptical about the moon and space.
You're sceptical of the moon
And space.
and space. What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know if it actually exists.
Really? The moon itself?
Yeah, how long we got?
A couple of minutes, man. What do you mean?
Well, I've never been to it.
So it might not exist because you've not set foot on it.
Well, I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I've just been shown photographs of it.
Yeah.
Been shown photographs of things that aren't real
Yeah.
before. Aren't real things
Yeah.
in the world. And I'm like, that's a thing. That's a photo.
Yeah.
But you see footage of, I don't know, space.
Yeah.
Space.
Yeah.
Or like, here's the Earth
Yeah.
from space. I'm
Yeah.
like, who says?
Have you always felt that way, or was it certain movies or things that you've seen along the way that triggered your imagination?
Just in my kind of like, old, I was turning 30, cynicism, is that a word?
Mm-hmm. I think it's fair. There's a lot of stuff like that. There's people in America who believe that the Earth is flat.
Could be.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't see
You
how
don't doubt them.
I don't see how anybody has an argument that it's not.
Mm.
I don't have any proof, and nor does anybody else. I look at the moon, like out my window all the time, and I'm like staring really hard at it. I'm like, there's a light in the sky for sure because I can see it. I can see it with my own eyes. That's all I know though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything else about it.
Mm-hmm.
You see photographs of it like in like textbooks or on like some sort of like news program.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Could be created.
All the more reason to go there and suss it out for yourself.
Well, that's why I wrote that song.
Hey, well, it feel pretty good to get there, man. Yeah.
I really like the moon. Let's go today. Don't you want to rub your feet in the lunar clay? A few thousand miles from home, but that ain't no concern. I'd probably walk half all that if you promise we'll return. Well, it's the ancient crustal heartlands where I wish to go tonight. Use a voucher from the papers to save money on the flights. It's reflectance and mythology, it's physics and delights. We could take a holiday or just stay for a night. Holidays on the moon, holidays on the moon. One small step for being kind won't come too soon. or the way that you've done your hair. Absinthian lunar orbit, or severe lack of air that makes my head feel dizzy and my feet feel light. I'm glad you came on holiday, everything's alright. Holidays on the moon, holidays on the moon. It's cold in the winter, so let's freeze in June. Holidays on the moon, holidays on the moon. One small step for being kind won't come too soon. Holidays on the moon, holidays on the moon. Sentimental around midnight and romantic around noon.
The way we were, it's all changing now, isn't it? Because nobody believes it. It starts with the idea that everything you were told was a lie, right? And that's the kind. I don't know where that's coming from, my imagination, but I see that's what's going on at the moment with people. They're like, everything that they were told was a lie, and everything they are told is a lie. You should question stuff, definitely. You got to assume some stuff. You got to trust some stuff, maybe. But it's a great attitude to think, I'll set foot on the moon and then I'll say it's real.
Yeah.
I don't taste it for yourself.
I don't not trust it. I'm not like, oh, the moon's not real, space is not real. It probably is.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they lie about that? They.
Yeah.
But like... but, don't know. Just an idea. Might not be real.
Mm-hmm.
This is real, I can touch this.
Mm-hmm.
But the moon might not be. Just an idea.
Well, it's real for you now. Later on, was it real? You trust all your memories?
No, I don't. That's what I was saying about that Chuck Berry thing. I don't even remember if it... I'm kind of doubting it happened or not.
I get that sometimes.
Yeah.
I think I blow up memories. I make them bigger than they were. Like make them grander, or like, oh, it was so amazing. It was like this. Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's why a lot of things seem better from where you are now, looking at some memories. Like, oh, such a great time. At the time it was hard, maybe when you were there you were a bit scared of this happening or this or that.
Yeah, it was.
You can blow things up to how good it was,
Right.
So, that trip to Mallorca when you were a kid or that, maybe it was shit.
What shit?
It was probably nice though. I think, like we were saying earlier on, we get sun starved here, right, in Scotland. It's been we're just coming out of that. It's a big thing about this moon. I think in past days with tribes, the pink moon or whatever moon we're coming into now, it's a time of renewal. You're putting that winter behind you, which is hard. You've missed the sun, and it's time to start enjoying ourselves and have a good old summer.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what we're going to do. All right, thanks very much, man.
Hey, thanks so much.
Thanks for doing it.
All right, nice one. Can we just get like a...
All right.
A freeze at the camera?
Get the blank check out.
Yeah. Give me the grand.
The interview was good. You get the grand, man. Where's the suitcase?